Plus, a mangled mess with a miraculous ending. Everyone on board surviving this plane crash in Mexico. It's truly unbelievable. And this morning, we are hearing from shaken passengers who walked away from the wreckage.
Oh my gosh!
Another view, this time from the ground, as a Firenado tears through Northern California. The dramatic moment, one family tried to escape the flames.
But first, breaking right now, Chopper 13 over the scene of a possible home invasion after a man says he woke up to a stranger in his bedroom. Parker Collins is live on the scene collecting more information, and he will join us with what he's learning in just a minute. But police out there right now.
Good morning, Las Vegas. Believe it or not, it is August 1st today.
Got to pay that rent.
Oh, yeah, it's a good reminder. I forgot last month for the first time ever.
Really?
Yes.
Are you homeless or are
No,
you okay?
no, they let me stay, thankfully, but I just didn't pay.
We are watching a beautiful sunrise
Yes.
right behind us. Helps us look more angelic when we're in front of a sunrise like this. Take a look at the one I've got with our Mandalay Bay cam. We are watching, nice. It's going to be a hot start to the month of August with a high up around 108 degrees. Had a little bit of wind last night. You probably slept right through it, but some 15-mile-per-hour breezes still a thing on the north side of the valley. Temperatures, they have not cooled down, that's for sure. It's a warm Wednesday morning, 92 at McCarran, 86 in Centennial Hills. It's also 86 in Green Valley. Here's our timeline, and it's going to heat up pretty quickly through the 90s this morning. We're at 100 by 11 o'clock, and by noon it's up to 103. Forecast highs will hit 108 degrees today. I do anticipate 13 first alert desert Doppler lighting up, Yasmin, with some pop-up storms over the mountains by lunchtime. I'll track them for you because they will likely move into the valley this afternoon. Time it out next.
All right. Thank you, Justin. No crashes to warn you about. Good news there, but I do have a little bit of a slowdown through the Spaghetti Bowl. It's the usual slowdown, but just want you to know what you're getting yourself into. Once you hit Washington, you can see it starts to go orange, a little yellow. So here's what it looks like right near the 15 and Charleston. There you go, that bumper-to-bumper traffic. The good news is once you get to Sahara, everything clears up as soon as those lane restrictions let up. And your drive time's about average. 10 minutes heading south, 7 minutes heading north.
All right, we want to get back to that breaking news right now. A possible home invasion overnight.
Yeah, I think a lot of us wonder, what would I do? Wait till you hear what this homeowner did. 13 Action News reporter Parker Collins is live. Parker?
Beth and Dana, we just got out here moments ago, and behind me you'll see that there are investigators. There's a few outside the home and a few more inside the house. That front door is open right now, but the only thing taped off is this one home. Chopper 13 has been fast and first over us to give you another view of where exactly they're working at this point. So they're telling us a man was home alone when someone broke into his home, apparently. Well, that homeowner grabbed a gun and shot at that intruder several times. That intruder took off, and right now police are looking for him, and they don't think that intruder was actually hit by any of those bullets. Again, he was fired at several times, so it's scary because, again, they haven't made an arrest out here. So they're interviewing everybody in this case. Again, going in and out of this home. I saw them in the back of it also taking photos. We just got it here a few minutes ago, so this could be taped off for a little while longer. Back to you.
All right, thanks so much for the update, Parker. We'll keep checking in.
Well, it's hard to believe, but 2 months from today marks 1 year since the tragedy that changed our community and the lives of so many people forever.
Yeah, and it also means survivors of that fateful night only have 2 months left to apply for benefits. And it all comes as MGM Resorts International CEO Jim Murin breaks his silence about a controversial lawsuit.
13 Action News reporter Tom George is live with what he had to say.
Yeah, well, Beth and Dana, we'll get to that in a minute. But first, as you just mentioned, with that deadline approaching, people who were at the Route 91 Harvest Festival, people that tried to help the victims, they're all eligible to apply for benefits through the Nevada Victims of Crime Fund. Now, what that is, that's a little bit different than the Las Vegas Victims Fund that we've been talking about. This is the fund that covers things like your out-of-pocket medical expenses, your counseling, things like that. And so far, it's paid more than $2.5 million in claims. But in addition to that, many victims have also sued MGM, and MGM has been taking a lot of heat for actually suing the victims in return. Now, at a press conference that was meant to announce MGM Resorts as the official gaming partner of the NBA, as you said, MGM CEO Jim Murin speaking out about the company's lawsuit. He says it's not about retaliation against victims, it's about trying to bring those cases together and not dragging out the process even longer.
We're not looking for monetary damages. We're not looking to harm anybody. In fact, we would like to see those affected compensated as soon as possible.
Now, of course, the Las Vegas Victims Fund raised $31 million, but what does all that mean? Coming up in the next half an hour, there's an article out by some experts that have dealt with these cases in Orlando and 9/11, these types of situations. They'll explain how all our 1 October funds stack up to victims of other tragedies in the past. Reporting live, Tom George, 13 Action News.
Oh, Tom, I think that's great information because I think something like 15 million was raised, maybe more. I'm sorry,
31, I think.
30, was it 31 million? Sounds like a ton of money, but you'll tell us how very little it turns out to be. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. All right, an FBI report on the 1 October shooting is actually set to become public after we mark the tragedy's 1 year. Well, that's according to a top official with the agency. The official says that he does not expect the report to include a motive.
Well, it's being called the miracle in Mexico, and it's no surprise why, after everyone on board an Aeromexico flight that crash landed survived.
Yeah, it's incredible. Look at the smoke coming from the wreck. You can see that there. Investigators say the pilots were trying to abort takeoff because of bad weather, but apparently it was too late. Look at that. The Aeromexico flight crashed right into a field. Witnesses say the jet burst into flames when it hit the ground. This pastor here from Illinois, he was on board. His congregation was nervous and distraught when they got the news.
Let me tell you one thing. Sunday, going to be a lot of people praying and asking for him.
Well, other than some broken bones, that pastor's okay. And this morning, the pilot and one other passenger are in critical condition, but doctors do actually expect them to survive, and everyone else has injuries, but it seems like they're going to be okay.
That's great.
Well, we showed you this incredible video of a Firenado yesterday on Good Morning Las Vegas.
And this morning, we're seeing this from the ground as a family escapes the path of the deadly fires.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I can imagine when you see that in your rearview mirror, what you're thinking, that fire tornado taking out entire communities this week, leaving behind destruction. Check out these images. A steel pipe wrapped around a tree like a pretzel just gives you a little glimpse into the power and the strength of that Firenado.
Yeah. The car fire is just actually one of 8 fires burning in California, and now firefighters say 2 of those fires have actually joined together. We're going to have more on that coming up in our next half hour. Well, now to Los Angeles, where police have released body camera footage showing the moments a woman being held hostage was killed. Boy, it's tough to watch, but it puts, it kind of breaks it down for you so you can see what happened yourself. You can almost feel how tense the situation was as you watch police racing to the scene of a church to confront a suspect waving a long knife and a chair. Well, police fire non-lethal beanbags, but the suspect blocks those with the chair. The armed man then grabs an older woman, using her as a shield and putting the knife to her neck, and that's when police open fire. Total of 3 officers fired 18 rounds and killed that innocent woman and the suspect. The chief of police is calling the hostage death tragic. He also pointed out it's been 13 years since an LAPD officer shot and killed an innocent bystander, but this incident, along with the woman that was killed at Trader Joe's last week, would mark 2 in the last 6 weeks.
New this morning, no criminal charges will be filed against the Clark County residents who voted twice in the June primary. That's according to the RJ.
A total of 43 people voted twice in the election last month, and last week county officials say that they were looking into 6 of them for doing it intentionally. Well, after interviewing those voters, election officials decided against pressing charges, saying that those people did not realize they voted twice. Investigators blame connectivity issues and poll workers not following protocol.
Well, all of us here at Action News are excited to help our teachers get back to school. We're launching our supply drive. As you know, it's been going on all week, and it really couldn't happen at a better time for Gwendolyn Woolley Elementary School. That's one of the 5 schools we're helping. At this school in particular, every child is getting lunch for free or discounted.
Yeah, which means they qualify and they need. 13 Action News reporter Parker Collins found out why they just slashed their supply budget.
It's a huge challenge.
The exasperation you're hearing is because not only did Woolley have to cut a teacher this year, but in May, their supply budget was slashed nearly $20,000.
It definitely can be a challenge when kids don't have some of the other resources they need.
They have to do more with less. This year, they're finally getting rid of the portable classrooms and have 22 brand new classrooms to get ready. Thinking about the first day, emotions run high.
First week for me is always exciting.
We are exhausted. Yeah, you clear your calendar the first couple weeks of school.
Well, you can see some of the items teachers need on your screen, including pencils, whiteboard markers, copy paper. You can drop off items throughout the valley. We have a list of locations on our website. The supply drive runs through this Friday.
Well, the 13 Connect Supplies for Success Drive is sponsored by Subaru of Las Vegas and America First Credit Union, and we appreciate the community's help.
Yes.
New this morning, a couple gets hitched over at the link overnight. I love this story.
It is the first of several weddings to take place this month as part of the resort's magical wedding dates.
It was instant. I don't know, love at first sight is so cliche, but we were just friends from the start. It was just meant to be.
She's just such a beautiful person, just inside and out. I mean, I instantly fell in love with her.
We fell in love with both of them. That's Justin and Heather. They met after he was diagnosed with cirrhosis. She was a nurse at his doctor's office when he was told he didn't have long to live. The two of them had many, obviously intimate conversations. They soon started dating. They got engaged on Mother's Day and won the free wedding soon after.
She's just perfect match for me. It's hard to really put into words when you find someone so special to you.
Oh, you know they mean it too, right?
Yes.
August expected to be one of the busiest months of the year in Las Vegas for weddings. But what a cool idea, actually, to get married in, because it's nice. It's got glass all around it. You go up above the Las Vegas skyline. It's beautiful.
Yeah, she looks beautiful. Congratulations to both of them. It's 6:11 Las Vegas.
First, a shark taken from a Texas aquarium. Now it's a lemur taken from a California zoo. The not so clever way the suspects left the endangered animal to be found.
Plus, an update on the woman accused of killing 3 Centennial High School students over spring break. What a judge decided this week and later.
Safety is the #1 factor that we have because I want all of our kids to be safe.
How a mystery donor is footing the bill to make One Valley High School safer.
We've enjoyed some pretty sunrise shots off to our east this morning. A couple of clouds in that direction giving us a few nice colors. We will look for lots of sunshine today. That'll heat us up, and that means storms will get going in the mountains by lunchtime. We'll track them as they move into the valley this afternoon. 7-day planner after this.
New this morning, a Southern California woman accused of killing 3 Centennial High School students in a DUI crash has been ordered to stand trial. 28-year-old Manny Duarte is accused of murder after she slammed into the student's vehicle back in March. They were there celebrating spring break. Yesterday, a judge ruled that the woman declined a ride from another driver before the crash and later told officers she'd been having trouble with her car. A.J. Rossi, Brooke Hawley, and Dylan Mack were all killed. A 4th teen survived.
I know a lot of people watching that.
Yes.
Well, this morning we are hearing from parents and representatives with the school district about permanent metal detectors set to go up at Cheyenne High School. Now we've got a shot from Chopper 13 here. The metal detectors were made possible by an anonymous donor, and it comes after a string of scares at Valley High Schools last year. Parents we spoke with welcome the protection for their kids.
I think that's great. I think that's awesome. It'll protect our children here in Las Vegas.
Well, CCSD trustee Kevin Child also welcomes the extra security, but would like the added security to be at more than just one Valley school. He says the district needs to ask lawmakers for more funding dedicated only to security.
It's another layer of protection. Would we love them? Absolutely. But again, it comes at a cost.
Well, Child says the district has gained a lot with social media campaigns and apps that help students and parents identify the report possible threats.
Facebook has removed more than 30 fake accounts and pages from both Facebook and Instagram because the accounts mimicked tactics used by Russian-linked accounts during the 2016 election.
Yeah, the social media giant calling the accounts fake and the people behind them bad actors. Facebook says the accounts and pages were intended to mislead users and violated its ban on coordinated inauthentic behavior. Right now, Facebook says they cannot definitely say who is behind those pages. Well, you need a Slurpee and maybe your prescriptions are ready for pickup. While Apple Pay is going to be there for you. CEO Tim Cook announced that the mobile payment system, usually run through your phone, will actually work at CVS and 7-Eleven stores across the U.S. this fall. This marks the latest willingness of traditional stores to jump on the mobile payment bandwagon. So CVS and 7-Eleven.
Hey, we told you about that shark that was stolen from an aquarium in Texas. Remember, 3 people disguised the shark in a wet blanket and put it in a stroller to get it out the door. That's what you see on the left there. On the right, you see a lemur theft in California.
Yeah, the ring-tailed lemur named Isaac is back home, but it was quite an adventure. Like the shark theft, it happened Saturday. The suspects cut through the gate and took the endangered animal. It was found at a hotel in a crate with a note that read, "This belongs to the Santa Ana Zoo. It was taken last night. Please bring it to police." In all seriousness, obviously this is a federal crime and police are now looking for who took it, but I don't know if someone turned their friend in or left the note or what the deal was.
How much alcohol have you had to think it's a good idea to steal a zoo?
Lemur.
Yes, I don't get it. Anyway, we're glad the animals are safe.
Yeah.
Well, the future has finally arrived.
All right, take a look at this guy, better known as Rocket Man. Inventor Frankie Zapata took to the skies of France on his jet-powered hoverboard. He took off from the back of a truck before whizzing around over the ocean. And everyone was obviously watching and grabbing some video as well. So, yeah, that's the future right there.
Hey, it looks like great fun, and it looks like nice, cool ocean air, which we can use right now, Justin.
Yeah, probably not 108 degrees over the ocean in France. That's
No.
what we're expecting here today, and still holding on to a bit of humidity today and tomorrow anyhow. The humidity levels are still just kind of borderline sticky, and that'll be enough mugginess to fuel a couple of afternoon storms. Friday into the weekend, the dew points, the humidity will continue to drop, and with drier air in place Friday and this weekend, we should be storm free, which would be nice for planting stuff outside, although still hot this weekend. We've enjoyed some really pretty colors sunrise wise on our Mandalay Bay cam and our Valley View cam. There are a few clouds out there this morning, but I expect lots of sunshine today, and that will allow temperatures to heat up pretty quickly. An ozone advisory is with us today. Ozone levels are actually unhealthy for sensitive groups. There's also some wildfire smoke in the mix, which has been limiting our visibility the last couple of days. Tomorrow, the ozone will get just a little bit better. 90s this morning, up to 105 degrees by 2 o'clock this afternoon, and with just enough humidity out there, it's going to feel fairly unpleasant unless you're in the pool, as temperatures climb to 108 degrees in Las Vegas later today. So we're dry from now until lunchtime, but look at this storm that tries to pop up over the mountains just south of Henderson by the middle of the day. Storms will be drifting to the northeast. So any storms that fire over the mountains to the south and the southwest of the valley could easily sneak across the valley. Here's a closer look showcasing dry weather this morning, and then at least a couple of early afternoon downpours, really possible anywhere from Henderson and Anthem over through Mountain's Edge, Southern Highlands and Summerlin and Blue Diamond. Really anywhere around the valley could catch an early afternoon storm, and some of our computer models suggest perhaps an early evening stray shower or stray storm is also a possibility. We'll be watching it if we have any warnings. For flash flooding, we will let you know on the bottom of your TV screen. So we're dry this weekend, Yasmin. Still hot, 108 Saturday and Sunday. A little breezy Saturday, Sunday, but it will be nice to be storm-free. Tomorrow, though, still one small storm chance to get with.
Can't wait for that weekend. Thanks, Justin. New crash to warn you about right now. It's on the resort corridor, southbound 15, right near Sahara. So as soon as you get through the Spaghetti Bowl and all that lane restrictions slow down, that's where your crash is right now. Live Drive's heading out there right now just to get us a better idea of exactly what's going on. But until we get out there, I can show you your drive times a little slower than average. 10 minutes heading south, going about 48 miles an hour.
All right, thanks so much, Yasmin. It's 6:21 on your Wednesday morning.
Still ahead, another day, another food recall to warn you about. You'll want to check your fridge.
Plus, if you're a fan of MoviePass, be prepared to pay more. Why the company says it's raising prices. The Paul Manafort trial is underway. The former campaign manager for President Trump stands accused of dozens of financial crimes. Special counsel Robert Mueller's star witness in the trial is Manafort's former business partner, Rick Gates, who also served as the president's deputy campaign manager throughout the election. Gates pled guilty to conspiracy and making false statements in exchange for his testimony. Manafort allegedly committed his crimes well before he joined the Trump campaign. This case does not involve any allegations of colluding with Russia to meddle in the election. If convicted, Manafort could spend life in prison.
Well, collusion isn't a crime. That's a message from President Trump about Robert Mueller's investigation into Russian meddling. And he says it doesn't matter, though, because there was no collusion between his campaign and the Russians. Trump's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, said the same thing this week. Trump first said collusion isn't a crime in a New York Times interview in December. Well, he's right. Collusion itself isn't a federal crime, but cooperation with the Russian government could be tied to several other crimes. Experts see this as a way for the Trump team to discredit Mueller's investigation. Well, a consumer alert this morning: you may need to check your fridge for packaged salads and wraps that may be contaminated with a parasite. Beef, pork, and poultry salads and wraps distributed by Cato Foods in Indianapolis and sold at Walgreens, Trader Joe's, and Kroger have been recalled. All items had a best by date of July 18th to the 23rd.
Movie Pass was the best thing to happen for movie lovers in years. It's a lot like Netflix for the local movie theater. Problem is that good deal may be coming to an end. The service just announced it's adding peak surcharges, kind of like Uber. At busy times, you got to pay more. Lightning bolts next to the showtime on the app indicate showings that will cost you an extra $2 to $6 per movie, such as a new release on a Friday night. You're going to have to pony up more money. An additional $6 is a lot of money.
Yeah, it is. Well, the Pinball Hall of Fame near Tropicana in Maryland is moving on up to be closer to the Strip. We've got a live picture of where it is right now. There it is.
Thank you, Chopper 13. It's a unique collection of vintage arcade games that you can still play for just quarters. It's becoming big among tourists, but the owner says many still don't know about them or aren't willing to venture too far off the Strip. Now they've bought a piece of land near the Welcome to Las Vegas sign. They're going to move there in the next few years.
It's going to be 3 times bigger than what we have, and I'll be able to take the incredible amount of games that I have in storage and display some of them that literally haven't been seen in 30 or 40 years.
Oh, that sounds fun. Yeah, it's going to cost between $3 and $4 million to build a new facility. They say that they're financing that with a bank, but are also looking for donations from the public. But I think it'll make money. It's a cool place. It's a cool thing. I've never seen it in any other city, so why not?
Yeah, I haven't popped in there yet, but a lot of people tell me it's great fun.
Yeah, I went years ago for a story, but I don't remember it well. I need to go back.
Yeah.
Well, we will in 3 years, won't we?
Yes, at their new location. Well, good morning to you, Las Vegas. Right now, we're working on more news for our next half hour.
The car fire is just one of 8 fires burning throughout the state of California right now. A live look this morning, but now firefighters are worried after 2 smaller fires have joined forces.
Well, exactly 2 months today will mark 1 year since the 1 October shooting, and in that time we've seen millions raised for the victims. But how does all that money stack up to previous tragedies? Experts will weigh in.
Now on Good Morning Las Vegas.
Right now at 6:30, a new article showing a glaring difference when it comes to money going to victims of the 1 October shooting compared to other major tragedies.
The first sentencing in the Penn State fraternity death has been handed down. We're hearing from students at the university who say the punishment doesn't fit the crime.
And new documents released by the DEA shedding light on the final days of singer Prince.
But first, so many of you are commenting on this photo on our Facebook page showing an RTC bus driver giving an elderly man a bottle of water from his own lunch. This happened yesterday near Jones and Tropicana. We are scheduled to speak to that driver later today.
We love to see good deeds, don't we?
Yeah,
people
beautiful
helping
picture.
people.
Yeah, we never get tired of that.
Right, and it's nice after all of the other news that we have to deal with to kind of have those moments to sort of retreat into our humanity. Let me show you Chopper 13. We will give you a high definition view of the Spring Mountains. Nice. This is Mount Charleston, way up there in elevation. Temperatures up there are going to be in the 80s this afternoon. Down on the valley floor, we're headed to 108 degrees. Right now, it's 92 at the airport, 83 in Henderson, 88 North Las Vegas. There have been some breezes overnight, but they are calming down, so a fairly tranquil but warm morning on this Wednesday. Starting in the 90s, we're back around 100 before lunchtime, and I do anticipate temperatures getting above 105 degrees as we push through the middle of the afternoon. We will have just enough humidity out there that a couple of storms will pop up after lunchtime. Highs around 107 in Anthem and North Las Vegas, 105 in Centennial Hills, and like I said, even the 80s up in the mountains. Yasmin, I'll show you the hour-by-hour storm chance. Some pretty hefty downpours are possible right after lunchtime. Details next.
All right, thank you, Justin. If you're dilly-dallying out there this morning, feeling a little little tired. I'm a little tired this morning, to be honest with you. You're looking okay. There's no reason to rush out the door. You'll only slow down right in the middle of the spaghetti bowl, pretty much the usual slowdown that we have right around this time of morning. And your drive times are looking great around the valley. The slowest time, 56 miles an hour on the 15. That's the resort corridor, so nothing unusual here.
Thank you so much, Yasmin. In 2 short months, we will mark a date that has come to mean a lot of things in our community, October 1st. And as lawsuits on both sides continue as a result of that night, so do concerns about whether the victims are getting enough money.
13 Action News reporter Tom George is live with more on how the victims' funds are being distributed. Tom.
Yeah, well, Dana and Beth, of course, we all remember that day well. We remember how our community came together. Everybody stepped up and donated to all those different funds. Of course, the biggest one was the Las Vegas Victims Fund, which raised $31 million for those victims. But now as we reach that 1-year mark, there are questions about how that money will be distributed and just whether it is enough. Now, a recent Forbes article is shedding light on just how much money those victims and family members could see. Now, according to Clark County, the families of the 58 killed will get around $275,000, but the hundreds who were wounded are expected to get less than that. But when you compare that to other tragedies like 9/11, experts say victims in that case actually received about $2 million each, so a lot more than in this case. Now, this all comes amid those 1 October victims' lawsuits, and some of the victims upset over MGM countersuing.
It enrages me to think this company can just try to skip out on their responsibilities and their liability.
Now, that Forbes article goes on to say that they understand that MGM is a large corporation, that they would want to limit their liability in this case, but they say in addition to just being bad PR for the company, they say it would be a better solution for them to try and come to the table and step up and see if they can work with the Victims Fund to try and donate more money to try and make it more comparable for the victims to other situations like with 9/11 in Orlando, to try and make it more comparable to what we've seen in the past. Reporting live, Tom George, 13 Action News.
Yeah, it's interesting, Tom. You know, everyone has their take on this, obviously, and people are writing and covering this story around the nation.
Thanks, all right, Tom, thank you.
Crews in California say 2 wildfires burning next to each other may soon combine into one. The fires are burning in 2 separate counties north of Sacramento. Now, both fires first began on Friday and have burned more than 100,000 acres combined. Thousands have been forced out of their homes, but conditions still are not as bad as they are in Redding, where one of the state's most destructive fires continues to burn. During a town hall meeting, the Carr Fire evacuees thanked first responders despite losing nearly everything to flames. Look at this.
It's when your head hits the pillow and you remember your home. And you remember my great-grandmother's rocking chair and the things your children made you know, when you were little.
Yeah, the Carr Fire has now destroyed an area larger than the city of Denver. Boy, the flames have now jumped county lines, causing fresh concerns for new cities. Despite the heartache, many evacuees are coming out by the dozens to show their support for crews.
People are amazing, aren't they? These are just some of the images people have shared on social media with signs. They're lining the highways where crews must travel. Children wearing masks, standing outside to show their love for firefighters. There you see Chef Guy Fieri. He's shown up to support crews, the native Californian, cooking up meals for first responders and evacuees.
Nice. One of the frat members charged in the death of a Penn State pledge will spend the next 3 months on house arrest, and 21-year-old Ryan Burke was the first to plead guilty out of the more than 20 members of Beta Theta Pi. Now, Burke was also sentenced to another 27 months of probation, 100 hours of community service in order to pay thousands of dollars in fines. But some Penn State students feel that is not enough, and he should have received jail time.
It wasn't just like them just drinking just to have fun. Like, this was a hazing, so like you are responsible for that individual. So yeah, I honestly think that they should have gotten more time.
Timothy Piazza died last year after a night of heavy drinking at a frat house. The fraternity members are accused of waiting at least 12 hours before they even called 911. More of them will appear in court next month.
Such a sad case. In news across the nation, a judge has stopped the online publication of instructions to print 3D guns. The instructions were supposed to be available for download starting today, but the federal judge has put the entire thing on hold for now. 8 states have also filed a lawsuit to block the plans from ever being published. iPhones and other goods from China may be more expensive to import. The Trump administration plans to raise tariffs on some Chinese goods after a 25% tariff was placed on products last month. The president said he's keeping his promise to put America first. Federal officials are praising Facebook after it removed dozens of fake accounts from its site. Facebook says all of the accounts were intended to interfere with the upcoming midterm elections. The head of Homeland Security says cyber threats are now greater than physical attacks against the U.S.
Overnight, a ceremony was held for dozens of U.S. service members whose remains were returned from North Korea. The remains of 55 troops who died during the Korean War were returned last week. They will now be flown to Hawaii to undergo testing and determine the identities of the fallen. That entire process could last anywhere from a few months to several years, but I'm sure a lot of people will at least have some closure, you know, if they find out it was one of their loved ones.
A number of cars are damaged after a part of a parking garage came crashing down in Texas.
Yeah, you can see the big section of the garage that came down. Fire crews in Irving, Texas say more than 20 vehicles were damaged. Search dogs were sent in, but no one was injured. One woman says she was at work when she got the news about her car.
I thought it was an earthquake. And my manager came and was like, "Have you seen the garage or the parking lot where you park?" And I was like, "No." And I looked across and my car was gone.
The fire department says it's not sure what caused, the collapse, but the state of Texas does not require parking structures to go through yearly inspections like buildings do. That's interesting.
New this morning, the state has launched a drone center in hopes of making the skies safer. According to the Review Journal, the center will provide data and education materials on drones. It will also conduct public workshops. In June, the FAA received more than 100 reports of drones interfering with planes. In June alone. Wow, that's a lot. You may remember this video from February showing a drone illegally flying above a passenger plane at McCarran. Officials say scenarios like this are why they opened that center.
Well, neighbors living near downtown hope new businesses in the Huntridge area can help correct some of the issues plaguing their neighborhood.
Roberto's Taco Shop and Capriati's are moving into the historic shopping center at Charleston and Maryland Parkway. The new shops mean jobs, but more importantly, city officials hope the changes will send the message Huntridge is on the right track.
We need to make sure that people understand this is not a war zone, or looks like a war zone at night when nobody's home. Now they're in business here and staying here.
Oh, that's great. Both restaurants are expected to open early next year, and boy, we certainly wish them a lot of success in that new location.
New this morning, Las Vegas performer and songwriter Frankie Marino is continuing his support for local student musicians. The headliner donated 10 Gibson guitars to the Nevada School of the Arts. Those guitars will be used for students who don't have or can't afford to buy an instrument but want to learn to play. Marino says he hopes the donation will inspire the next generation of musicians. But yeah, since he's been in town, he always gives back to the students, the music programs, and helps. So
he's an incredible performer if you haven't seen him. High energy and a lot of talent. All right, it's 6:40 Las Vegas.
As Demi Lovato continues her recovery following an apparent overdose, new details this morning on the complications she's facing in her recovery.
Plus, flight attendants have come up with a new app, what it helps passengers report on board airplanes.
We are looking dry through lunchtime here in the valley, but check this out. By 1 p.m., big storms are possible over the mountains down around Henderson, as well as down to the southwest side of the valley. They'll drift northeast, which means during the early afternoon, we can catch some downpours here in Las Vegas. We'll time out the storm chances through the end of the week and look ahead to your weekend after this.
And right now, Chopper 13 just getting over a new crash. This is Charleston and Commerce, so just to the east of the 15. Looks like it might involve this Republic service truck. And that car you see right there, so the intersection is blocked. Again, this is Charleston and Commerce.
Good morning. Coming up on GMA, that miracle survivor story. All 103 people on board this plane in Mexico making it out alive after it crashed during takeoff. We're now hearing from a passenger who helped save other people and learning new details about the American priest on board. It's all coming up only on GMA. We'll see you soon.
Good Wednesday morning, Las Vegas, just about 6:45, and we are looking this afternoon and tomorrow afternoon at about a 30% chance of a thunderstorm here in the Las Vegas Valley. This means we still identify Friday and the start of the weekend as being much drier. We'll talk about temperature trends in the 7-day and also give you a better idea about exactly when and where the storms could pop up after lunchtime today.
It's been a long week. Looking forward to that already. Thank you, Justin. I want to show you that area of the map where we were tracking that crash. Charleston and Commerce. So if you are going away from, this is the outlets right here, so going away from the outlets, the crash right at Charleston and Commerce, just to the east of the 10. Here are the vehicles involved. There's the Republic truck, there's the vehicle, and then we have the fire department out here. We did have an ambulance out here just a couple of minutes ago, but most of the slowdown seems to be in the eastbound direction right now. If you do need to drive through the area, Bonneville is going to be a good option.
Well, singer Demi Lovato is reportedly still in the hospital following her apparent drug overdose. Lovato is said to be experiencing some complications from her overdose, including nausea, vomiting, and high fever. There's no estimate as to when she will be released from the hospital. Last week, a source told CNN that Lovato plans to seek drug abuse treatment following her release.
That's too bad.